Welcome to the program. I'm Mark Imperial. This segment's being brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where business owners and professionals get their books done and published to educate consumers, grow their businesses, and to leave a legacy. I'm doing a series of spotlights on remarkable business brokers and intermediaries from across the country. Joining me on this segment is Matt Manavi. He's with the Transworld office in Orange County, California. Matt, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Mark. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Tell us a little bit about your work, Matt, and specifically who are the types of folks that you specialize in helping?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. So I work with business owners who are thinking of selling their business. They're either thinking of retiring soon, or they're individuals who got burned out working through their business. They may be at a younger age. Selling a business is extremely a complex process. It requires a business valuation, proper structuring of the sales structure, negotiation, going through the full deal process. What I do in helping the business owners is to help them work on selling their business while they continue working on their business, because both of them are full-time jobs and you can do one or the other.
Speaking of full-time jobs, these folks owning businesses, working in them year after year for many years, they're focused on growth, growth, growth. What have they spent any time on the job of selling their business? How prepared are they?
So it's a great question to ask. Many business owners do not take the time to prepare for their exit. Most of the times I get a call and the owner says, I'm ready to sell yesterday. Whereas from a buyer's perspective, it's really important to make sure that the business is structured as a turnkey solution. The higher the preparation, the more the preparation, the higher the multiple, hence the higher the valuation of the business. What I do is I provide a full business assessment with a business valuation to my clients, really doing a full gap analysis to make sure that the business owner understands the deficiencies or kind of the excuses that a buyer might ask or might want to use to reduce the offer price. Once those excuses are removed, then there is no reason for buyer to want to negotiate on a lower price. Hence the reason for asking a higher multiple, because the business is fully prepared for exit.
How has this recent pandemic affected your industry? What kind of activity have you seen happen, and has it triggered folks to really want to sell? And we've heard about the great resignation. We know a lot of people want to buy a business today. What have you seen?
So the pandemic itself, um, it unfortunately it forced certain businesses to go out because for multiple reasons, right? Reasons that were beyond their control and possibly cash flow reasons. The business was not being run as a business itself, right? It was just maybe just a low cash flowing business where a little bit of a dip forced them out of business. But I know of many other companies that actually thrive. I sold three of them this year and last year where they extremely thrived because of the pandemic. One was a janitorial, a couple of them had to do with defense and aerospace. Now, that said, uh, what's really important is to understand today's environment. We are still in seller's market from a business owner's perspective. What that means is we've got a lot of the baby boomers who are in their 70s now and are thinking of exiting their business. They got hurt by the 2008 recession. They rebuilt their business, and then some of them got hurt because of the pandemic in 2020. They're out of time. They need to sell. So we expect a huge influx of businesses coming to market. But on the other hand, the demand is even higher than the supply, which makes this market extremely interesting. There is a huge amount of cash from the private equity firms, from the home offices, excuse me, from from the companies with a very strong balance sheet who cannot hire fast enough and they need to acquire other businesses, and from certain executives who, for one reason or another, left the corporate world back in 2020, and now they're saying, I'm bored to death. I need to buy me a business so I can grow. So we got four competing entities going after the same amount of supply that is available. And that makes it a very strong seller's market. If a seller has been thinking of retiring within the next 1 or 2 years, I highly recommend to really start working with a professional business broker to start that process now, because the market is very strong.
So statistics show that 80% or more of businesses that go on the market end up not selling. Can you kind of give us a little uh, insight into like what causes deals to break down or what causes a business to not sell?
Yes, absolutely. Another fantastic question. So it all has to do with preparing the business for sale. It has to do with the sales price, the asking price, and how well the business is prepared and structured for sale. Unfortunately, there are many individuals who, uh, maybe business brokers or intermediaries, who do not do a sufficient job in providing a complete business valuations and providing the right expectations to the sellers. Because sellers, rightfully so, they have worked a very long time. They've put a lot of sweat and blood in that business to grow it. However, from a buyer's perspective, it's only a financial purchase. It's dollars and cents. Does it make sense for me to spend this much money? What is my returns on investment? So a professional business broker will be able to set up the business from that buyer's perspective, that this is your return on investment. That process by itself then exceedingly increases the chances of selling the business versus the business not ever being sold, because the right expectations and the proper legwork was not done initially.
Matt, what inspired you to become a business intermediary? Like, what got you started in this business?
Very good question. So I come from 30 years of corporate background. My first 19 years was in the Bay Area in Silicon Valley. I was an engineer. I got my master's degree in physics. And I started as an engineer in small startup high-tech company. The third company that I started working with, I was employee number one. And I did the full architectural design. And I became the technologist who presented our technology to venture capital firms or other companies that wanted to buy us or invest in our company. That introduced me to this concept of mergers and acquisitions. And that's when my whole process, my journey started, that I was really intrigued and I really enjoyed it. Fast forward, then I worked for a Fortune 500 company, multinational company, where I learned about every aspect of running a very successful business and understanding what it takes to, from the front end, from the larger company, what it takes to run a successful business and cash flow management for a small startup company, what it takes, what step must you do so your company doesn't fail. So I kind of learned both ends of the spectrum, very small startup, Fortune 500 company. And then after 30 years in 2016, when I decided to basically quit corporate world and go on my own, somebody introduced me to this concept of business brokerage. And I said, I have been doing this at least 70% of the skills required I've been doing, and I know already how to do it. Hence, I started helping business owners and business buyers to go through that full transaction process. It's a lot of fun for me. I really enjoy it because there's never a dull moment. I am very much humbled by the process, especially talking with business owners, of understanding so many ways of generating revenue from different products and services. And I'm also intrigued by the professionalism of some of the buyers. They ask deep questions, and a business owner had been working on his or her business for so many years. They understand very well how to run that company, but they may not really understand how to answer and prepare a business from a professional buyer's perspective. And that's where professional people like me come in, who are committed to the industry, I've gotten almost three of the most important certifications that one can earn: a certified business broker, a certified business intermediary, which is from International Business Broker Association, and a certified mergers and acquisition professional, which allows me to go work with businesses up to 50 or $70 million revenue.
Matt, before I ask you my last question, is there anything that I didn't think to ask you that you feel is important to share with somebody, a business owner that's considering selling a business in today's economy?
Sure. Please work with professional business brokers and intermediaries. It is a complex process. I have worked with buyers who attempted to buy businesses for sale by owner, and the buyers get very disappointed and walk away. You open up liabilities for yourself because you don't know what you don't know. So please ask for professionals. I work with transaction attorneys, I work with CPAs. I bring a team to make sure that you are protected when we go through the business transaction.
Matt, for folks listening right now that resonate with your message and business owners considering selling that would love to speak with you, how do they find you, connect with you, and learn more?
Thank you for that question. Absolutely. You can email me at mmanavi@tworld.com, or you can look me up on my website called tworld.com/orange, tworld.com/orange, or you can find me on LinkedIn. You can type in MAHDAD, Manavi, and you'll find me. I'll be more than glad to connect with you and answer questions that you might have.
Matt, this has been terrific. I really appreciate your insights and I appreciate you taking the time to stop by and share with my audience today. I wish you continued success for you and for all of your clients.
Mark, I really appreciate this opportunity. It was a pleasure and a privilege to be here and talking with you about my business. Thank you so much for inviting me.
That was Matt Manavi. He's with the Orange County, California office of Transworld. And this segment's been brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals get their books done and published to educate consumers, grow their businesses, and to leave a legacy. That's all for now. I'm Mark Imperial, and thanks for joining me.